Welcome to Brewsers, a podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I'm your host, Roy John, and today we talk to Sam Stackhouse. We talk all about how he got into the business, his past as a truck driver, and so much more. This is such a fun conversation. Sam is amazing, and he is definitely making his way up in the world of pro wrestling. You see him all the time here at GCW. You just saw him at the homecoming. You'll see him anytime he's in the area, and he's actually been traveling with them as well. So you've seen him on Ring of Honor, AEW. He's everywhere. You can't miss him. He's a giant man, and he's a giant sweetheart as well. We'll get to that in a second. But first, make sure to sign up for our newsletter. It comes out twice a week. You get even more information about our guests. You get fun facts, and you get to find out what's happening with your favorite podcast, all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. So without further ado, here is Sam Stackhouse. I would like to welcome to the show Sam Stackhouse. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing well. So for those kind of listening, can you paint us a word picture? Where are you at? What's going on around you?
Well, I'm in my little game room / craft room, I guess. That's where I make all my merch and play all my games and everything. So
nice.
That's where I'm at. I got my desk, my little screen. I got screens and printers and heat presses and stuff everywhere. It's a mess. So just picture a chaotic mess. That's where I'm at. But the floor is clean. I cleaned the heck out of this floor today, so I'm proud of that. So
hey, you see, you got something accomplished today. There we
go.
Well, I was going to get into that later, but yeah, let's get into that. So tell us more about these crafts, the merch you make. I mean, it's obviously a great side business or if it in fact is your main business, because everybody needs some merch at some point, or they just want something for even like a family reunion or new babies or birthdays, whatever. So yeah, walk us through this.
It's slowly become. I mean, it's pretty even with that in wrestling. That's because that's all I do now is make merch and wrestle. So it all started because I bought my wife one of them little cricket machines for Valentine's Day a few years ago, and I saw a random TikTok that you can make stickers with the cricket and a printer, and I was like, holy smokes, we can make stickers with this thing, and I'm starting making stickers, and it kind of snowballed into making more and more stuff now, and I learned how to make new stuff all the time. That's pretty much what I do now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's been pretty cool.
If people wanted to find this, I mean, obviously they can see it on your Instagram, but where can they actually go and order stuff and see all the other stuff you've done?
You can message me on any of the social medias. I'm working on the website right now, but it's going to be a few weeks till the website's up. So right now it's just you just message me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of the social medias. I get you taken care of.
There you go. How much is that? Like, because I know there needs to be more wrestlers with merch, and it does obviously cost money for merch to get made, and then obviously then they can sell it wherever they are. But how many of the wrestlers that you kind of come across that just don't really even mess with it or at all? And then there's the other side of like a Danhausen that just has an entire table full of stuff. So like when you've come across different wrestlers, they obviously ask you questions like, hey, blah blah blah. But how much have you seen people just be like, nope, I don't mess with that, and then the other side completely where they have an entire merch table for themselves?
Well, I can answer because I've been on both of those, because up until I started making my own merch, I wasn't really for the first like 10, I left so much money on the table. For first like 10, 11 years of me wrestling, I wasn't a merch guy. Like I got shirts one time, and like I immediately almost sold. Like I sold out of before the show, like during the pre-show. Damn. So like that was my first merch thing. So I got some more shirts, but that's really all I ever had. And I would do pictures every now and then, but I never really had merch because I never really messed with it. I was type even if I had merch, sometimes I wouldn't even go out and set it up. I have no idea what I was thinking. So but now now I'm the guy. Like I've got a little bit of everything on my merch table. I got tech decks, I got puzzles, lighters, ashtrays, rolling trays, magnets, buttons, stickers. I got you name it, I got it now pretty much. So I'm working on. I got some coasters and some like nice. bottle openers and bookmarks that I'm working on. I'm kind of workshopping right now, trying to figure them out. So, and I just started doing my own shirts and everything now too. So now everything except for the little GCW trading cards I have, I've made everything on my table. I've made myself. So
I'm sure you could also make trading cards if that's something.
Well, I made me and Fuego one. I've kind of dabbled into those now, so I've made my own trading card now too. So,
what is something that you've seen sell that when you started having it on your table, you're like, we'll see, and then all of a sudden you have like a totally different thought process on it?
Probably the there's a picture that I took it with when I won the loco title, and it was like my version of the Shawn Michaels picture.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I'm naked. All the
Oh, I
belt is
saw it
cut.
earlier on your
Yeah,
Instagram. I was like,
yeah.
okay.
That's like I sell so many things with that on it. I was so surprised because my wife was like, what? Even she didn't think I was gonna sell it, but I was like, she took the picture and she didn't think I was gonna sell it. But she's like, people ain't gonna buy that. I was like, bet. And then, well, I didn't think I wasn't as cocky as I made it sound like I just was, but but I was surprised. Yeah, I've sold magnets with that on it. I've sold, I mean, yeah, 8 by, that's my number one selling 8x10.
She's like, you don't even send those to me, and all of a sudden you're selling them.
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest surprise, that the most random thing I had go off.
That's awesome.
But the tech
Well,
decks too, like the tech decks, I've sold it every weekend I've had them with me. I've sold out of those too. So those have been
what is a
pretty.
tech deck?
You know the little finger skateboards
Oh,
from like
really?
back in the day. Yeah, I've been super surprised with that because I had them with me on my last GCW weekend in Texas, and
Yeah.
I sold out them the first night. The next day I was at the venue trying to make more before the show. So that's a
I'm waiting
surprise
for
too.
somebody to bring the Pogs back. Is what I'm really.
I got Pog. I have Pogs. I have a like an actual, like, not like I made them. I have like an actual official licensed Pog from the
Oh,
Pog company, because a couple months ago, I guess, well, it was like April, I think it was. Um, they did a Comic Con thing in Paris, Texas, and
mm,
the Pog CEO and everything was there, and they sponsored it, and they had a Pog like tournament, and I've got a gigantic, like, I mean, it's a big round Pog. It's probably 12 inches, and because
whoa,
I won the Pog tournament, but also like they did some that were like for the event, and they only made like 500 of them, and but one of the there's like a pod, it's like a 6 pack of them, but one of the pogs is me, and it's like an animated version of me climbing the tower like I'm King Kong and like swiping at a plane.
that's
Pretty
awesome.
but yeah, like, and I got a picture of me holding it with the CEO of Pog, so it's like a legit, like, it's pretty sick. Yeah, they only made a few of them. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was it was dope. It was one of the coolest things I've got to, because like the promoter set that all up for me, and it was like, cause he found, like, he asked me about the Pogs, and I was like, heck yeah, I want to be a Pog. What? So yeah, it was pretty sick.
What is your strategy for the slammer situation?
Listen, it was wild because, like, I made it through the first 2 rounds easy peasy, because like nobody, like, they just had like a couple of like celebrity people there do them. They didn't know what Pogs
Mm,
were, so it was easy. The third round, the finals, we each got, like, it came down to my third throw, and like this man had like 12 or 10 or something like that. I had none yet,
oh no.
and I was about to lose. So I just slammed that thing down, and it flipped over. It flipped over like almost the entire stack on accident. I have no idea how I did it, but it was fantastic. So I barely won. But it's about power and accuracy. You got to find the happy medium between
Right,
that. Because if you throw it too hard, it's just going to bounce like, they're going to all crunch together, and it's
right.
going to bounce the slammer away. And if you're not accurate, you're gonna miss. You gotta find the right little. But I got lucky.
I mean, it's for the most part that is kind of what Pog is. You're like you said, you do have to have the power and the accuracy, but there is a little bit of luck in there as
Oh,
well.
for sure. There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't think people were gonna think they're gonna listen to a Pog podcast, but here we are. Pogcast is what we're gonna call
That's good. I don't know why no one's done that. Just
it.
like if someone just did like a '90s themed podcast and called it Podcast, that would be fantastic.
I mean, everyone's into nostalgia, and 90s, I think
Exactly.
fashion wise is coming back around. I think I saw Jinkos the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm waiting now for the fishnet tops to just become more popular. So
Yeah.
the full on Jeff Hardy, Matt
Hell
Hardy,
yeah.
early Hardy boy. Yeah, all that.
Hell yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to getting cut in the ring by all those dudes' chains on their jeans. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, and like the ball bearing necklaces,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be
I
fun.
always wonder about that when I see people's gear. I'm like, that's got to hurt you and everybody else on the ring. Like,
Oh, I've definitely seen some people get some chunks taken out of them, catching people with dives that got like metal belt loops and stuff on them. I don't know. I mean, I get how that could get overlooked. Like, people don't think about that when they're
yeah.
designing the gear. Like, I get it, but also, like, yeah, one of my buddies specifically got a chunk taken out of his stuff by a dude's metal belt loop one time. It was pretty brutal.
Oh no. Yeah, like they're good for pictures, but functionality wise, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, save it for the entrance.
Yeah, just get a big old ring jacket. Just take that hoe off.
Yeah, go travel with that. That'll be fun. Well, since we're talking about wrestling now, what is your, let's go all the way back in time. What is your earliest memory of pro wrestling?
Like the first live wrestling I remember watching was the ECW pay per view. My brother showed to me,
Oh, really?
and yeah, it was fantastic. It was like 2000, like probably 2000, might have been 98. I think it was like 98.
Hmm.
I want to say, and then the first like WWE pay per view I remember watching was the WrestleMania when they had the TLC match, the first one. That was the first because
Oh,
Jeff Hardy.
17.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy instantly became my favorite wrestler. So, and I started jumping off everything I could jump off of. So. But yeah, so it's probably yeah. The first thing I remember watching specifically was ECW, but that WrestleMania like that's what hooked me. That's what got me.
I imagine the ECW one, obviously, every match was nuts and,
Yeah, yeah,
you're like, what the hell is this? But the crowd is the extra person, is part of that match. And like, yeah, as much as they are for the most part for WrestleMania 17, it's obviously like the giganticness of like, I think that one was in Houston. Yeah, that one was in
yeah,
Houston.
yeah. Because my brother was there. That's why I was watching it.
Yeah, see, that was the one I wanted to go to, but my
Yeah,
parents were like, you can't afford it and you're not going on your own. I was like,
yeah,
I can drive to Houston. It's not that big a deal.
yeah.
But yeah, that one and like just the giganticness of it all, I imagine was like, whoa, what is this as well? Like the two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's like I said, the ECW caught my interest because like I'm into I dabble into deathmatch wrestling, like hardcore wrestling stuff. So I enjoy that stuff too. So it was cool that was the first thing I saw. But yeah, the pageantry and just all the fun, the pyro and all the stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
seeing that on Mania. That's what hooked me.
Yeah, like that giant ramp they had as well.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it
yeah.
was nuts. Well, when did you make the switch in your head of like, maybe I can actually do this?
Well, that's I also attribute that to my brother too, because he was the
Hmm.
one that like he'd always told me like whenever we'd go swimming or he'd see me running around and stuff that I was always like a little more athletic for my size and like I could do flips and stuff more than I should have been able to, I guess. So he always pointed that out and everything. And then I was at a party one time when I was like 17 or 18, and I was wearing like a Stone Cold shirt or something, like a 316 shirt or something. And I got to talking with this other dude about wrestling, and he told me that there was like a local place that had shows every Saturday, and I started going to those shows. And then they would talk about every intermission that they had at school. And it took me like 6 months to go to the show. Like every week, me and my nephews were front row. Or the show didn't start till like 8. We'd be there at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon waiting. We didn't need to do that. There was never
No.
like a long. It was like because I mean, like that place was like it was full every weekend, but it wasn't like a long line. Like we could get there at a normal time and still get in, but we didn't take a chance because we was front row. And then finally one week I went up there and got the information about the school and showed up on a Tuesday and started training. And that was March of 2009 or February or March of 2009. And been going ever since then.
So, but you are from Oklahoma, like the
Yeah.
Tulsa area, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in the DFW, Texas area. 2009 was completely different when it came to independent scene, especially up in the Oklahoma area. Like
Oh, for
now
sure.
there's so many different companies up there, and a lot of them obviously bleed down to North Texas and
Yeah.
vice versa. What was the scene like when you were getting into wrestling in obviously the Oklahoma, and I imagine, like I said, probably bleed down in the North Texas area too.
Well, it's weird because like there's two different answers to that because there's like what the Oklahoma scene actually was and what it was from my point of view. Because from my point of view, everything was huge because like I was just
Ah,
happy, like you know what I'm saying. Like I didn't realize at that point I didn't know independent wrestling was like as big as it was.
hmm.
So I didn't know that till I started traveling. Even like I didn't even know there was other places in Oklahoma really. Like I didn't know anything. So about like the independence, anyways, I didn't know anything about it. So like because back then like it was still on message boards and stuff. Like it wasn't like you could just
Yeah,
type, like you couldn't just go on YouTube and find very much independent wrestling or like look on Facebook, or TikTok, and Twitter. None of that stuff was a thing. Facebook was still barely a thing.
yeah.
So like it wasn't nearly as easy to find out about that stuff. But yeah, like it was there was a few places in Oklahoma City, like IZW, I think was like the
Mm,
biggest place around was back around that time. And I started training at Compound in Tulsa, and they ran
okay.
shows every Saturday. And then I finally made it up to Oklahoma City and started doing like Sooner World Class and Mid State or Mid South and all those up there. But yeah, now